Hello and welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint with you today. So today we're going to do another simple swatch and doodle. I am going to be using my Bauhung sketchbook, my Core Paints, QOR by Golden. I'm also going to bring in this Uniball gold pen and this Artist Loft fine liner black pen. So we're going to be doing some abstract swatching and doodling, and we're going to play with a little bit of transparency. I think watercolors are transparent, you can see through them, so we're going to do a little bit of layers with some abstract shapes. So the brushes I'm going to use today, I'm going to use my silver black velvet brushes. I am using, this one is my size 12 silver black velvet brush. It has seen better days. This one I've had for a long time. Okay, so I'm going to start with, and I'll go over colors as I use them, but I'm going to start with Indigo, and this is a color that's normally not in my palette. You can see it right there. So I just squeezed a little out of a tube and put it out here. But I love using these really rich colors when I do these kind of swatch and doodles, and I think I'm going to keep my shapes pretty circular-ish as I paint them. So I'm just going to paint a couple. And this is a great way just to practice brush skills, having a nice even flat wash, and play with value. So this one is lighter. It might not look that way on camera right now, but as they dry, you will definitely see that it's lighter. I'm definitely going to add a few more colors in here. And right now I'm just playing with shape, composition. All right, I am going to switch colors. Let's see. So I used Indigo. Would it be crazy if I used an orange? So orange is the opposite of blue. Indigo is in the blue family. And I have a couple. I have Quinacridone Gold that I could throw in here. That would be a very harsh juxtaposition because they're complementary colors to blue. Orange and blue are complementary colors to each other. So when they're put next to each other, they're a harsh pair, but they make each other kind of the brightest, boldest versions of themselves. So we could do that, or we could do a very calming color palette. Let's do a little bit of a crazy. So I'm going to use a Quinacridone Gold, which is in the orange family, yellow orange, but I think it will be interesting. So just making some fun shapes, organic, all of them kind of soft rounded edges. These orange ones are getting a little funkier than the blue ones. The blue ones are all kind of like circular shaped. And you can do whatever you want for an exercise like this. You don't have to follow me exactly. And now I'm actually going to put one over top of this, and then we're going to learn something about transparency. Okay, so watercolors are transparent, means whatever I put on top, I can see whatever is through the bottom a little bit in some way. They interact with each other. Orange and blue are complementary colors, so when they're next to each other, They make each other their brightest, boldest versions of each other. But when you start to mix them together, they're going to start to neutralize each other and find their way towards black or gray or brown. So I could stick with my Quinacridone Gold here, or I could go even oranger to this very orange transparent Pyrrol. So I'm gonna jump to the transparent Pyrrol and see how I feel about that. I'm gonna overlap it with this blue. So let's see what happens here. Now look, we can see the blue through it, but if we just look at that color, we try to take out this blue and this orange next to it, what we see is a brown. That's a brown color. And that's what happens when you mix your complementary colors together. I'm sure if you've watched my channel for a while, you have learned that, because I kind of beat that notion into your head. I love mixing complementary colors together to create new colors. And then this is interesting. This is orange and more orange. So you get kind of this brighter, just darker, bolder orange here. So let's keep going. And I'm definitely going to go back to the blue in a minute, but I like how these are interacting with each other. So again, everything here has soft round edges, no sharp points or corners yet. And maybe we'll bring that in with our fine liners in a few minutes when we're done. Kind of making marks. I kind of love this. This is getting much more golden and brown as a color as it dries, especially when it's next to these bright, bright oranges, and that's kind of cool. I feel like they would look a lot more orange to you if I didn't add something that is more orange next to it. The power of juxtaposition. It happens with art, it happens with shapes and colors and light and contrast. It happens with people too. You are not the same person when you're standing next to your significant other as you are standing next to your sister or your brother or your sibling. You take on different qualities, right? I think we have different versions of ourselves, not fake versions, but just different qualities kind of tend to come out depending on who you're standing next to or interacting with. The same is true for paint and color. All right, let's let that dry because I want to add a few more layers of the blue, but I really need things to dry first, and then we'll bring in our fine liners. Okay, everything is dry, and I want to bring in some darker indigo now. So I have this really dark shape here, but these are all much lighter, and I want to connect a few areas. So I'm actually going to go over this with this dark blue. And this gold actually has a lot of yellow quality to it. So you're going to get a green tint or shade in here as you mix the blue and the gold. Let's see. So I will say it's like a greenish brown, so still somewhat of a neutral. And I feel like we need something in here. Let's do something smaller. And I could definitely switch to my smaller brush now, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep needling away. With this large brush, trying to make tiny shapes. make a really long, kind of leafy shaped oval over this. And I love layering like the same color over the same color. And I see I have kind of like a mirror thing going on here. So you see we have the lightest color, we have the darkest color, and then we have this other medium value in between where they don't overlap. It really demonstrates the power of layering and transparency. All right, I feel like I'm almost done. And actually I feel like the piece might want to live this way in the vertical, even though I painted it this way, if I had to hang it on a wall. But we're going to keep going. I'm going to give these another layer, or at least one or two of them, maybe that one and that one, and then we'll do one over here. Man, I could just paint these forever. And I'm going to do one more little pattern of small things on this side. There we go. Okay, I'm going to be done with my shapes, and we're going to add some fine liner, I think. Let's let it dry. All right, we're back and everything is dry. Now we have a choice to make. I'm going to use these two fine liners. One is Uniball and it's gold, and the other is just a fine liner, an illustration pen, Artist Loft. Now we can use these to draw on top of this abstract pattern something that is not abstract, that is literal and representational, of whatever you want, a person, a face, a flower, a coffee cup. Or we can stay with the abstract theme and just paint more abstract lines that play into this composition already. I think I'm going to stick with the abstract today and not put anything representational on top. So I'm going to start with my black, and I'm going to stay with the organic shapes for now, but I definitely am going to add in some straight lines or corners or sharper things that have more rigid lines and corners. But for now, I am going to stay in this theme, and I'm going to draw some fun circles. And I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just kind of sketching my way around. Circle there. I'm going to do another smaller one here, just around and around and around, and maybe one that interacts with it right here. I could also add in really small bits of circles. Add that there. And sometimes when you're adding small elements, they get really overwhelmed by everything else that's going on. So they can just be part of the piece and like part of these bigger, broader elements, and they're like little Easter eggs throughout the piece that add a little texture. Or you just have to add a lot of them before they can really stand on their own as something that really catches your eye. So I'm just going to add this little pattern to the edges of a lot of these shapes. I'm not going to go all the way around a shape. I'm only going to do little sections. And some of them are going to be closer together, like this has a lot of them close together. These are kind of spread apart. And these I'm actually going to fill in a little bit more. And I'm going to do, we'll come back to this because I'm going to add some gold. Now for this, I'm actually going to do, I love these organic round shapes, but I'm going to add some harsh, or not harsh lines, straight lines that aren't as soft and organic. They are just going to be straight lines, but they're going to come kind of from, and you know, you could use, you hear my ruler banging around all over here. You could just sketch them, or if you really want them to be super straight, go ahead and use a straight edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come all from this one point, and I'm going to draw a bunch of these. I'm not going to make them perfectly spaced out. They're not all going to end in the same place, so they're going to have a little chaos to them like the rest of this piece. But a little bit more, that one didn't come out, a little bit more structure, architectural structure, geometric structure than just my wobbly circles. There we go. So we've added those in. Now let's switch to gold. All right, so I'm going to add some of this gold. I'm going to do a circle on its own right next to this in gold. But then I'm also going to add some gold interspersed with this black one. And then I'm going to do, what am I going to do with these? I'm going to do some circles right around these smaller ones. And let's do some more straight lines. So I'm going to go from the center of this circle here, make a dot, almost like a clock, but my line is going to come way out here, and it's going to go over this blue shape. And I picked that blue shape on purpose because I know the gold stands out best on this dark blue versus on like the orange. So I did this kind of same thing from here, but with gold this way. So this piece feels like it really should be positioned this way. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. How do we feel like it should be this way? Leave a comment on if it should be vertical or horizontal. If you had to hang this in your house. If you hate abstract art and want to leave a comment of, I would never absolutely not hang that in my house, you can, but you don't have to. You could just not comment too. But if you would hang something like this in your house, would you hang it vertically or horizontally? All right, just adding a little more gold here. I am going to do some of these little dots that I did with the black and gold. But I'm probably only going to put them on blue because that's the only place you're really going to see them. And they're going to not, they're going to be light. But yeah, I like that. I like how this really draws a lot of this together here. I like these circles. I'm going to do something that is, I want to connect this way. I'm going to do an oval. Okay, oval like that, but I'm also going to add some black in there. Maybe. There it goes. Perfect. Perfectly imperfect. All right. Is there anything else I want to add? I really like this piece. And I'm not a huge abstract artist person. I don't create it very often. It intimidates me. But I do think it's a great way to play with colors. Sometimes it's a disaster, for me anyway. And I seem to have gotten a bunch of gunk on the end of my pen. There we go. So it's a great way to play with colors and line and composition and just creating compositions that feel balanced but not, that kind of compositional sense and color sense can definitely translate into more representational art. All right, before I mess this up and go too far, I'm going to close my pens. I'm really feeling good about this. It feels strong and powerful to me, but also balanced and comfortable. Like these colors feel comfortable together, even though they have some tension. Anyway, I'll get off my artsy soapbox now. So thank you so much for joining me for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's very different than some of the other things I paint when we do landscapes and florals, and I love those too. But I think I'm going to incorporate some more of these abstract pieces. So I hope you enjoy them. And if not, you can just skip past them too. Thank you so much for following me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the description for links to supplies and materials. It won't have a link probably to this Uniball pen because I don't know if I can find it online, but I just got it at my local Staples. Yeah, thank you. Leave a comment if you have questions or have an opinion on which way you would hang this piece. And thanks for watching. I'll see y'all for another watercolor journal page very soon. Take care, y'all.